And it's another episode of the Triumvirate. How's it going, Cat and Tracker?
Hey,
I'm doing okay. I'm surviving.
yeah, my mind's a little bit constipated. I'm trying to drink some tea to get my mind going.
That's a good way to handle it.
How is your? Because you just too bombarded today with too many X posts.
I don't know. I think maybe I was drinking a little bit too much on the weekend. But I don't know.
Oh yeah, you were
Yeah.
drinking that one weird pronunciation drink that I don't know how to pronounce. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good stuff. It's a little milky. You'll like it.
Oh, it's a little
Ooh.
nutty.
It's a little nutty. Yeah, a little chestnutty, a little milky. I think you'll love it.
That does sound good. Is this the Diddy party, Tony? Yes. But it's BYOL. You got to bring your own lube. So, we can't supply it all. We're not Diddy rich.
No, not by a long shot.
Well, yeah.
But we also don't have Diddy's problems either.
Yeah, we were just playing spin the bottle behind the scene, and we got a little bit delayed. Sorry, guys, but here we are.
We're just talking about stuff, and before we're having a good time chatting, and then realized, oh wait, we're like a minute late.
But yeah, Cat just kept winning.
If maybe you guys out there noticed, because you're not watching the show live, you're watching the recording of the show, or maybe you're watching live and you're going to watch the recording of the Starship launch later. SpaceX had a launch scheduled for Sunday, but it got pushed back to Monday, and then the weather didn't cooperate yesterday. So they're actually launching the Starship right now while we're starting the show, but that's fine. You can watch.
Oh, now we're going to lose all of our audience.
Watch live. Yes, what's that?
Now we're going to lose all our audience to the Starship.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tracker.
It's fine. Whichever one they're most interested in, they'll watch live, and then the other one they'll watch.
Yes, of course.
Let's see. Yeah, so the theme of the show is rotation, and Matt made a lovely graphic featuring the three of us sitting in a teacup ride, like at Disney World or Disneyland. They've got that ride at both of those places. Yeah. And because we're going to talk about rotations, and you hear us talk about it, you hear other people talk about it, but what is rotation? It's funny, in financial markets, rotations refer to shifts in investor capital from an asset class, but also from a sector, from one investment style to another. There are all sorts of there's rotation between sectors, growth to value rotations, equity to bond rotations, domestic to international rotation. And you're going to hear us talk from a large cap to small cap rotation tonight. I don't think I'm giving away anything about by saying that. We just came out of what people keep talking about, cyclical to defensive rotations, but I think Matt's been telling people, defensive. People are telling you to go to defensive rotations now. They're stupid, and cash to risk asset rotation. So, and commodities. Anyway, those are just a few of the kinds of rotations that Grok helped me list just now. Grok is great. He helps teaching and learning, make it rapidly reusable.
Yeah.
I was watching the SpaceX thing earlier. And, I was talking about rapidly reusable. Hopefully the show will be rapidly reusable as well. I was also saying that probably get used to this, because where our show comes on at the same time as the Starship launch, because they're going to keep trying to do more and more frequent launches, and eventually they'll be launching Starship more, several times a week, and there'll be, we're still going to do our show like once a week. So I think they'll probably get jaded to the Starship launches eventually, but hopefully they won't get jaded to our show. Well, anyway, that's go ahead.
No, that's one perspective. The other perspective, I think rotation is when mommy and daddy love each other very much, and then they're playing some music on the background. They realize that they're missing something, just they don't want to make any more of y'all, and then they were giving you like a piece of paper for you to take to the grocery store to show to the clerk, and you bring back home a pack of something, and then they just open up in the room, and then they were having fun with it. That's rotation. It's fun times, I guess is what I'm trying to say, but you don't know unless you're involved and unless you're old enough to be participating in it. Hopefully not with mommy and daddy, but oh
my god.
but one day you understand, and if you don't, you know, just ask mommy and daddy about it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, my son's at that age. He's 11 now, where he's like easily embarrassed by any hint of parental relations and PDA and stuff. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
PDAs. Yeah. Sorry, we're going to talk about charts. You're talking about small cap to large caps. So I think we got a
Large caps,
chart
small
here.
caps. Also, I think we're also going to talk about, or I want to hear you guys talk about Bitcoin versus others.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we'll talk about all that
pick
stuff.
anywhere you guys want to start.
I mean, since I have the IWM chart pulled up, I guess we'll just start right here. And really, what I'm focused on mostly is, I don't know, Cat is as well, that 886, right? It broke above it, and that was last week. And now it's actually showing signs of stability on top of that 233.20, which is a huge deal. This is basically a prerequisite of a Palantarian candidate, and it really makes all these fib extensions accessible in the future. And this is something that on any chart, once you see this develop, this is called like a momentum play, right? It might have momentum to just keep breaking levels and go to the 270s, 290s, 300s. So this is a pretty big deal. And I think this is why I've been focusing on X a lot, like just saying, why are you focusing on trying to bottom fish stuff like, I don't know, UPS or whatever? Just focus on something that's looking like it wants to break out. And that's exactly what IWM is doing. It's looking like it really wants to break out. It has a few more steps to go, right? The 244.46 and even that wick up there too. That was the 244.98. But it got rejected once before up there, but maybe third time is a charm to finally break out. And if so, then we could have some really explosive stuff. So I'm just really excited for this. And I think it's going to really be good for a lot of Bitcoin miners. It's going to be good for small caps. It's going to be good for altcoins. It's just going to be good for a lot of things. And I think it's going to be one of the leading sectors in the market going forward.
I also kind of want to say, I've got a theory that if you, to each chart its own, as the Elioticians say, but, or really any chartist, but I would say, like, if you're looking at some small caps that are also at their 886, just on top of it, just as the IWM is now, they might move together a little bit more tightly.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some. I think one of them might be even IREN. Is it ready? Yeah, it's above the 886. It keeps on going higher, right? This is a very good, and Kat's mentioned it before, a Palantarian candidate, and it could easily start to unlock those fib extensions up there, like $100 IREN. Nobody would have believed that basically back in March or April. They would like call you crazy, but now that it's here, like, oh, well, maybe it can happen. So yeah, just a lot of charts are looking very explosive-y, if that is a word. But I'll let Kat take over now, too. Kat, what do you got to add to that?
Uh-oh. All right. Well, I'm never prepared to talk about anything. So
Yeah, right. You're always prepared. You're over-prepared.
No, not really.
He has a really good memory.
No, I've been showing this chart for like forever. I think this is what got Tracker really kind of hot the first time.
It did.
Yeah, the second time we were kind of starting to talk about things. This the Russell 2000 over SPX, so it's small caps over large caps. And a lot of people are kind of thinking, hey, small caps has always underperformed large caps because small cap is crap and they're never going to do anything. Just like how you kind of, talk to your least favorite son, I guess. But really, in the reality is, well, I mean, that could very well be true about your son, but when it comes to IWM or Russell 2000 over SPX, it's actually got a very strong period of time from the dot-com bubble burst all the way to like beyond the Great Financial Crisis, where small caps was just really outperforming large caps for a very long time because the Russell 2000 over SPX is outperforming there for about a decade and a half until you started running to this like bearish divergence here on the monthly chart, and that's when you started really peaked out around anywhere from 2011, 2014, And that's when you have large caps really just significantly outperforming the small caps for really over the last decade or so. And everybody who had recent memory just think that, hey, why do you even bother investing in small caps? If you just do large cap, you're just going to be significantly outperforming small caps anyway. So that's supposed to be kind of happening. But over the last few years, really since like COVID, you started to build up a little bit more of like a bullish divergence, where it seems that RSI is just kind of trending up, and even though SPI has still been outperforming the Russell 2000, so this kept on going down, but RSI kept on trending up. So I do wonder at some point, I think the momentum is going to end up shifting at some point. When is it? I don't know, because it keeps on having these like bullish engulfing candles. It just keeps on breaking down, So at some point it's going to change. I don't know, but with Matt kind of looking at the Ethereum chart, looking like it's going to break out, I do think that Ethereum is probably due for at least a breakout, even though it may not necessarily be outperforming the S&P 500 for like a long term, but it does look like maybe there's a little bit of a change of scene here. Now, looking at another chart here, this is the Cathie Wood's ARK fund, ARKK, divided by QQQ, which is NASDAQ, the NASDAQ 100 stocks here. You know how Cathie Wood's stocks are high debt, and low libido, supposedly. But it's actually been forming a really big base over here, this ratio of ARK over QQQ. Matter of fact, really since August of 2024, it looks like ARK has actually been outperforming QQQ here, forming higher lows and higher highs here with this ratio here. And it's to the point that he's been reclaiming the 20-month moving average of this ratio, is actually trying to push the upper management up here to show that, hey, maybe ARK fund is going to keep outperforming the NASDAQ here moving forward. So you're really moving towards a little bit more of a risk-on type environment, which is kind of what we're seeing, even though a lot of people are saying, hey, we should stash more cash because the market's going to crash, or just stash more cash because it never hurts to have cash. But the chart's kind of showing you a little bit of a different picture here. And I mean, I don't know. Even looking at like Bitcoin over others is the cryptocurrency market cap, excluding the top 10 coins. So you're talking about the real degen stuff over here. And this is the Ichimoku here. I guess I'm supposed to make it more regular instead of logarithmic. But you can see how this ratio of Bitcoin over others, you see how, Bitcoin has really been, let me see. Yeah, Bitcoin has really been kind of outperforming for a long time. But then you're starting to have Bitcoin kind of underperforming others here as soon as it kind of reaches the monthly Ichimoku cloud over here. So I think we're getting to an inflection point here where we might have a little bit of rotation. Now, granted, you're going to have a little bit of a bounce here. I think at some point Bitcoin's still going to end up outperforming others here for a little bit, for maybe like a month or two or something like that. But the trend overall seems to be a little bit exhausted. You're getting resistance. I think we might start to see a little bit of rotation here based on what I'm seeing here. So that's the case for the Russell 2000. That's the case for ARK, and that could also be the case for altcoins, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. So with that said, I'm going to pass the mic back to y'all. Tracker, you have anything to add to that?
No, I was kind of playing around with this RUT over SPX chart as well. I don't know if you can really do it with these where you divide one stock by another, because what you really get is a ratio between the two. But I tried it. I threw a fib retracement from where the RUT was at the highest versus the SPX at the lowest, and it looks like it came really close to this 0.114 level. And I'll know that the trend has changed when this price level gets back over this moving average 75 on either the weekly chart. Ooh, look, on the 16-hour chart, it's already kind of playing around with it's above the 75 moving average and heading for the 300 moving average. So it's making its move right there. And then you can see what, I guess in July of, it's just in July, and in last year, in November last year, or both times when it looked like it was breaking out, but then it kind of went back in again. Yeah, it looks like it's winding up for breakout again. I'm just going to put an alert right here, and we'll see when that alert fires. But it looks like it's going to be soon when these two start switching trends.
When two becomes one, whatever.
Yep, when two become one.
No, yeah. No, I think I forgot about one chart that I thought was pretty important. If you want to just flip it back to me here real quick, this is the Hang Seng over SPX. The Hang Seng is the index in Hong Kong. Really, the majority of the big Chinese companies are going to be listed over the Hang Seng. So it's a really good way to look at that, see how Chinese stocks and Chinese liquidity has been doing. You can see how this is a big giant downtrend ever since like 2008 or so. It's just been parabolically going down. If you're invested in China rather than the US, you're really severely underperforming. We might be having a little bit of trend change here. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but look at this. You got a little bit.
Are you talking about a rotation from domestic to international stocks?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I mean, like if you're looking at some of the ratio here, looking at the Hong Kong Stock Exchange over S&P 500. Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, it's got a little bit of bull flag here, doesn't it? It looks like the 20-month moving average here is kind of curling up here. It's on bull flag. Looks like it wants to expand here to the upside. We'll see. If I look at the weekly here, is even something that's even weirder. Is you can see that the sausage is squeezing here. It's kind of interesting in terms of the Hang Seng over SPX. I think that something big's going to happen. And the fact that it's been mostly forming higher highs and higher lows is favoring maybe a little bit of outperformance of China over the U.S. stocks here, at least for a short period of time. I know people don't want to hear that because Chinese stocks are a crap, are very risky, and they get delisted all the time apparently. So, which none of those things are necessarily true, but it's squeezing it pretty hard. I think that the bigger move is going to come. Hey, maybe U.S. is going to outperform China, maybe China's going to outperform U.S. I don't know. Just look at the trend. Looks like maybe a little bit more outperformance of China over US here. If you just look at the Chinese stock market here in isolation by itself, there's really nothing bearish about it. How it's just been kind of going up, dragging up the bullish trend along with it. 20-month moving average has been, kind of going up. You got an Adam and Eve double bottom over here, really back tested. Now you're breaking out. You got the Ichimoku cloud on the monthly already broken out. If you're looking at the FIB level over here, if you do a little bit of a log fib, it's about to hit the 0.707, but I think it's probably going to be hitting the 0.76 here at some point. I do think that the trend line over here is probably going to hit somewhere maybe towards the end of the year or early next year, somewhere around there. I don't know where exactly it's going to hit. I'm not doing a very good job drawing the trend line. I don't know where exactly it's going to hit. Maybe here, maybe there. I don't know, but I think like 28,000 is going to get hit. And that means at least a few more months of bullishness over here. And it breaks above the 0.76 over here, who knows? Maybe it goes, I don't want to say Palantiring, but yeah, the Hang Seng looks pretty good right now. I mean, I think Alibaba has earnings like today or something like that. I don't even know. I don't even remember. Looking pretty decent because it's breaking into Mama. Mama's happy. Got an Adam and Eve, maybe not happy. I don't know what Mama's feeling. I don't know. I only see from Alibaba's perspective.
That's not a happy face.
It could be. Pain equals pleasure is what I was told. But yeah, Adam and Eve back tested has just been kind of like, rubbing the bottom of the Ichimoku collar for months. Really looking like it wants to go in. I think Mama's getting ready for it. It's just probably just a matter of time. I don't know. If earnings not good, maybe it's not good, but like it's just based on the fact that it's been consulting sideways over here. Even earnings not good, I suspect that like good things are probably going to happen. If not this month, maybe next month. For Alibaba anyway. I don't know about Mama, but anyway. Yeah, so maybe a little bit of rotation there too, potentially is what I'm seeing. So, all right, back to you guys.
Hey, I want to ask you a quick chart question. It has nothing to do with Baba in particular. Have you ever noticed charts where it looks like there's a bearish Eve pattern over the top and then a bearish Adam pattern? And like, does that mean anything to you? Like, do you remember
ever
doing
an example? Like, I mean, I want to.
Yeah. No, I guess I'll have to find an example for you.
I mean, you can have Adam and Eve double top. I mean, that's the thing,
But it looked
So
like an Eve and then an atom. It was weird. It was like I was looking at a mirror image of this.
you can have even atom bottom or even atom top. That's possible. It's just not as common as Adam and Eve. The reason why Adam and Eve exist is really because you have a huge move and you want to do a trend change. And initially you got a big retracement back to the mean, but because the moving average is still very negative slope, you just can't push through. So you need like another consolidation sideways here that lasts for a long time, which is the Eve bottom, to really turn this average over here to become less negative sloping, so you can actually penetrate back and back test it and move back up and make higher highs and higher lows and actually do the trend change. That's usually what happens. So like an even atom is possible, but it's just less common. That's my understanding of like how why these Adam and Eve bottoms happen.
So, no, that makes perfect sense. A lot of like those W patterns for winning also happen from the same sort of setups.
Right. But I can imagine you can have like a bottom here, you can have like a longer bottom over here, and still flip the 20-month moving average more flat, and then you have the atom bottom eventually pushing out. That can also happen. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me ask both of you guys about the rotation possibly from Bitcoin into others.
Yeah, no, that was this chart over here with the ratio of Bitcoin over others, where it's kind of hitting close to the top of each local cloud over here, and it's kind of getting rejected. It's hard to say, I think that if you're looking at this, I think the best way to look is probably through Bitcoin dominance and Ethereum dominance. Those are probably like the best thing to look at. It's a pretty big downtrend so far, and if you do, this is linear, good. So if you do kind of a little bit of a fib retracement here, you can see how it looks like it got close to 0.786, got rejected here with Bitcoin dominance. And again, Bitcoin dominance, if it's high, that means that it owns a lot more percentage of the overall cryptocurrency market cap. And at some point this cycle, like 66% of all cryptocurrency market cap belongs to Bitcoin, which really squeezed like the rest of the coin to be, not doing very well at all. But over the last 2 months, it's just been plummeting. You can see how it broke down underneath the 0.707. And this one looks like it's about to close underneath the 0.618 here. We are hitting a little bit of support here. It is hitting like the 20-month moving average. It does make you kind of wonder. It is hitting kind of like the baseline over here. So it does make you wonder, hey, you're going to have some kind of support, and maybe Bitcoin will bounce up against, altcoins here at some point. But it's really hard to say.
I would expect it to, decelerate into that 0.5 fib. And that was right where the top of the Ichimoku cloud was.
Yeah, you got the 20 moving. You got exactly. The 0.5 is where the Ichimoku is at. So, maybe you got some more plummeting to go. And then once you get there, you might have some shenanigans you need to play out. Even looking at the Ethereum dominance is telling you the opposite side of the story here, because the monthly Ethereum dominance, at some point, Ethereum was just like 7% of the entire cryptocurrency market cap, which is just insane. Bounce all the way back to 14 or 15%. But you can also see it's hitting cloud rejection level over here on the monthly, which was also previous support here, term resistance. So I think maybe we probably need to cool off here a little bit, before maybe, who knows, maybe the other altcoins would catch up, or maybe Bitcoin would end up kind of outperforming here a little bit short term. But yeah, I mean, I think the trend seems to be changing. There's still going to be a lot of volatility happening, but it's overall the trend seems to favor altcoins moving forward. I'm sure Matt has a lot of things to say about this too. So I'm gonna
Matt, you've been quiet
pass the mic to him.
Well, I actually just have my Ethereum over Bitcoin chart right here. First,
I'm just gonna whip this thing out here.
Well, yeah. So let me talk about this right now. All right, let's just take a look at Ethereum over Bitcoin, and this kind of refers to dominance over Bitcoin, right? It's breaking above the 382. It has not seen this since it broke down back in October of last year, but more importantly, we can clearly see that during the 2018 to the 2021, this was a massive resistance, and I want to just illustrate how important that is, because once it broke above, it just went straight up to the 702 and kind of stopped out. So if this pattern continues, maybe at least to the 702, that would be a huge increase, right? And that would be a very big outperformance of Ethereum and probably all the altcoins that are attached to it. So if history does kind of repeat, that's a very important level to watch, because that took many years to break, but this time it was just very quickly. But once it broke that, it was just two giant, like this was a 47% monthly candle. This was a 50% monthly candle. So if we see something like that, dominance over Bitcoin, then we could just see like a 100% boom town just over Bitcoin pretty quickly with Ethereum, which would really catch a lot of people off guard and probably spark a lot of chasing as well. So we'll see how this month ends up closing. There is 5 days left until the end of the month, but so far this is a huge development, and I think it's just a very good sign of risk on and outperformance of Bitcoin. And let's see here. Another thing I wanted to just focus on too is just going back to just the others chart as well. And I do have, again, for this others chart, and if we're seeing how things are stuck, it's really
just stuck. Could you give us a reminder of what the others chart means, Matt?
Yeah, others is everything except for the top 10. So it's not including Ethereum, it's not including XRP and Dogecoin and all that stuff. So this is right in the middle of a range between the 786 and the 702. And if we put on the Ichimoku cloud, I think this is kind of telling a cool story, because not only did it reclaim the monthly cloud, but it's also reclaiming the baseline, which it hasn't done in many months, right? And it just has a few extra layers to get above. And once that happens, then it's back towards the 886. And basically the 886 and the ARK could potentially be flipped to a support at the same time, which could really spark something nice. But I want to look at the weekly chart, because the weekly cloud has been just building a base on top of the bottom of the cloud, which will soon be the top of the cloud in the weeks to come, which is going to maybe be set up for like a launch pad for the others as well. So there's nothing bearish about altcoins. There's nothing bearish about Ethereum. And in fact, that dip that we saw yesterday was just opportunity for people that missed out. But right when it happened, there was so many narratives like, oh, the Bitcoin, the top is in, the bear market's going to start now. So it just, a lot of people, they made up their decision, oh, I'm not going to buy now because it's just going to go much lower, which I think that's why paying attention to narratives is a terrible idea, because when you look at the chart is saying it wants to hold this zone as a support zone. It wants to hold and it wants to outperform Bitcoin. Everything wants to outperform Bitcoin. That's what everything is saying. And it just didn't make any sense to me how people could assume based off of one day how things were super bullish, all-time highs, then boom, 24 hours later or even less, everybody's super bearish. It just doesn't make any sense. But that's why eliminating emotions is the most important thing when it comes to investing. That's all I got for now, guys.
I agree.
Looks like a pretty nice setup there for others, where the cloud's getting thinner and the conversion is, pointing up. We've just been range bound, trying to break above the cloud there for a very long time, but it looks like we might be finding some support there pretty soon.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I think it's coming sooner than later, because just give it at least a few more weeks. It's going to flip to the top side of that cloud and be ready to almost go. So I cannot be bearish about any altcoins at all right now. Well, the large caps, I should say. Some of the small caps, who knows?
yeah. Maybe a rotation's coming. Who knows? Certainly seems like Ethereum is kind of performing here a little bit. Usually, these things take time, though. I think when Bitcoin dominance, we did a live show with Luca the other day. Like Bitcoin dominance, whenever it starts to plummet like that, it can take like 9 or 10 months to do. So I think that now that we're just starting that process, it clearly looks like there's a pretty significant trend change there.
Yeah. This is a huge trend change, a breakdown and a successful backtest as resistance of the cloud. I think it's ready to go to maybe 56%.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how this this plays out here, but it seems to be favorable for Ethereum to break about more all-time highs, and at some point, I can't say there's not going to be a little bit of volatility here because it's just been Bitcoin has just been going straight down here for 2 months, but you know, we'll see. I'm excited.
And
Yeah.
do you have anything to add, Tracker?
I've got, I don't know, I could show some specific charts. We don't have to do that though, but here I've got this DFDV chart. It's DeFi Development Corporation. And their model is they do commercial real estate, but now they've also switched to doing commercial real estate sales as a service, but they also are a Solana treasury. So if the altcoins do really well, and Solana is one of the, Solana's not in the top 10, is it?
I think so.
Oh, well, never mind. Well, anyway, but if Solana does well, you know, DFDV could do really well too. I've got
it's
my
number 6. It's number 6.
Oh, it's number 6. Wow. So yeah, I don't keep up with these things. On the log scale chart, you know, it spent a lot of time, way down here near its all-time lows. But once it announced it was going to do the Solana treasury thing, it really started to move. And in fact, let's see, log scale. Oh, wait. These are the wrong fibs, aren't they? Let me just do this one. Oh, and it's upside down. Gosh darn, it's like one of our shows where like I'm completely unprepared. One of our live shows. This is upside down.
Well, this is live, Tracker. I don't know if you knew that.
I mean, one of our morning live shows where I can get away with it just because we have such a high volume of them. Every day is another chance to make up for it, but these shows we only do ever so often, once a week, sometimes less than that. Yeah, so it hit its all-time high. Well, let's see yeah, this is its all-time high. It's never been higher. 663 was its previous all-time high. Now, after the Solana announcement, 5388 is its all-time high. And you can see, you know, talking about building a base, this thing has really been building a base right over this 1390 level, which is its 702. And let's see, let me push these all the way to the left, extend left and right, and put the numbers on the left where we can all see them from there. Nope, that's the wrong ones. That's the wrong ones. I wanted this one. Well, I'll put all these on the right. Put it on the right. Oh, it's still the wrong one. Sorry, I'm trying to get these ones right here. Extend left. Move left. Anyway, yeah. It's over the 702. There's a 786. It already flirted with the 886. It just was resistance the second time. It was trying to get over it again. But, you know, once it's going to break out of this triangle eventually, it just, will it stay under this Ichimoku cloud for a little bit or kind of break through it? I think the price it wants to go to using my fib extensions here, my linear fib extensions, it's Dopplering into, like, in other words, like you can literally see these are log scale retracements on the left. These are linear scale fib extensions on the right, and they start to, you know, just like a Doppler effect, they just cram into this price. They get closer and closer together, you know, just over this 114, but below the 1272. So it looks like it wants to go about halfway between the two of them. I've got 140.09 here for this target. Yeah, I don't know. I just, it looks like I'm gonna have to extend this out some, but overall, I think this one could do really well. And I've got a bunch of it, and that's all I wanted to say about it. There are many stocks. Let's see, you talked about earlier about MicroStrategy, how MicroStrategy it looked like it kind of peaked early on, but then maybe we'll see some of these. Then what I'm saying is maybe we'll see some of these other Me Too strategy type stocks peak a little later with their own, you know, not Bitcoin season. Anyway, that's all I had to say.
Yeah, I still don't think MicroStrategy is going to be dead, though. I think it's
not dead. No, not by any means. It's just it's a rotation, right? That's what we're talking about. The whole show is about rotation.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is slowing down while the others catch up. And then at some point, when everything looks like they've squeezed as much of the profit out of the others as they can, or it's run the gamut of excitement, then they'll look across the whole field of battle, and Bitcoin will still be dominant in the amount of the market share that it's worth. And so when the rising tide starts to lift all the boats, the flagship will be the most attractive one to start pouring money into again. And so then they'll rotate back into Bitcoin again. But that's not where we are right now. We're kind of rotating a little bit out of Bitcoin.
Yeah. I had a Coinbase over MicroStrategy chart I can show.
Yeah, let's see it.
So here's the lifespan of Coinbase over MicroStrategy, and it's been in like a perpetual downtrend, but it had kind of a destination. I don't know if many of you don't probably use negative fibs, but I like to see, because if the zero level ever gets broken, we can see where they're probably going to go. And it had a destination of the minus 618, and this essentially was from the all-time high to this low before it really broke down. And after that, it recovered a V bottom out of there, and now we're actually showing stability on top of this negative 2.7. And if that can actually stabilize, hello. And if that can stabilize, then we can actually continue the journey up to the zero level, and that would be a big increase from current price, and that could even be another 50% and possibly even another 100% over MicroStrategy. So I think the outperformance is there for risk on, and I would say that's Coinbase over MicroStrategy, and that's also more related and correlated with altcoins compared to MicroStrategy, which is just Bitcoin. So it's also inside the cloud, which it kind of got rejected back in July. But now that it's back inside the cloud, we can see that it has plenty of room to continue that journey higher. So just more confluence, in my opinion, that this risk on play over a Bitcoin play is looking more and more juicy for the potential to go higher.
Very nice.
Yeah. Coinbase to $1 billion a share, Cat? Maybe $1 trillion?
I don't know. Mama's very happy right now. Yeah, it's no, I think Coinbase. I think it has potential to get into four figures. I know you see the same thing. I can't say how high it's going to go, because if I say it now, it's crazy, because it's all about one level at a time. It all depends on liquidity. But it does look like, I don't know, it's just so weird. Everything I'm looking at, everybody's talking about the 4-year cycle, and then I just made a whole video just talking about, I don't know, I mean, things just look, this is Alibaba, but things just look like they're going to keep on going for longer in general. I mean, the general thought is, like the Hang Seng Index looks like it still wants to keep going up higher. That's thing number one. Thing number two, looks like IWM still hasn't really formed like its all-time high. And I just think that it, is looking at this one. I want to bring about the 0.86. I want to show a couple of things here that might be cool too with the Bollinger Band here. I'm going to show that, maybe try to align that with Bitcoin here. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of doing it on the fly, so maybe it's not going to be be patient with me. I'm going to do a bit of a distraction here and make that not lines, can get rid of all this crap here. And I'm going to pull up the Bollinger Band here, and it kind of show you, like, I guess I see something relatively cool here just over the cycles. Where Bollinger Band squeeze, Bollinger Band expansion, you can already see that here at IWM. You have really, in general, a consolidation or bear market is usually going to end up having a Bollinger Band squeeze here. And the same thing is happening with Bitcoin here as well, where if you have a bear market, you generally have a Bollinger Band squeeze, and then if you end up having a bull market, you end up having Bollinger Band expansion, squeeze here during bear market, expansion during bull market, squeeze here during bear market. Initially, I was wondering, hey, this is going to turn into full expansion. No, it didn't end up doing that, because just kind of going up, but not that much, and you actually end up having not much volatility here at all for a very long time, for like a year and a half. The interesting thing, you also compare this to like the small caps. And I'm sorry, they're not really aligned all that much, but the same thing is happening where bear market is squeezing, bull market expansion, bear market squeezing, bull market expansion, bear market squeezing, bull market expansion. But if you actually look at this, there's actually a two-phase kind of thing when you look at IWM, where the first phase is you have, over here anyway, the first phase you have a little bit of bullish expansion here, and then followed by like further expansion where the bull market happens, right? Here you have a little bit of a bullish expansion here, and then followed by like a full bullish expansion. Here, I think the cycle is a little bit slower because you have a little bit of bullish expansion here, and you have a little bit of contraction, right? So I think it's probably going to fall with a big bullish expansion here as well, similar to here, similar to here, similar to here. Contraction, expansion, slight contraction, expansion. I think the cycle is just slower. That's what I'm seeing. Because even look at Bitcoin, like Bitcoin, you also have like a little bit of the contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion. Here, I think it's just, contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion. I don't know. Like, I cannot say that for sure, but this is like the behavior of IWM is telling me I think a bigger move is going to happen based on just bullish expansion here and reclaiming the 20-month moving average. And the fact that we're breaking about the 0.86, log fib. The 2-month chart is a little bit more obvious here because you can really see that the bullish contraction, expansion a little bit more clearly and cuts out some of the noise. And you can see that it's already been contracting here for a very long time. You just started to have a little bit of expansion there. I mean, expansion, what that means, it can keep going up here for like, I would say that that's like a whole year right there. That expansion that went up maybe in like another like half a year or something like that. And this is just kind of happening. So anywhere from like 6 to 12 months, it could get pretty bullish. And I think it could hit some of the targets up above. This is what I'm seeing here based on looking at Russell 2000 or IWM. So I'm pretty excited about what's happening. It just doesn't seem to me that the bull market is going to end in like 3 months. It just doesn't make sense to me based on what I'm looking at in terms of trend.
Agreed.
So.
And
I think. Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Tracker.
I was just going to say, I think that what we used to time out with 4-year cycles and whatnot, maybe it's a little different this time. Matt, if you'll pull up this, let's see, this chart I've got here. It's a log scale fib of the SPX, and I think I talked about this last show. I added some more things since the last time I talked about this, but like in 1879, some 8 years after the beginning of the SPX here in 1871, Edison invented the light bulb. And then it wasn't till the mid 1930s we got widespread electrification. I'll just skip through a bunch of this and just say that once we developed the first digital computers, things really started to take off. And then here's where early PC computers were developed. And then they went from personal computers as an experimental sort of, expensive hobby to mainstream. And then here we get the widespread use of computers through the late 1990s. And then the advent, and then the internet explodes. Here's the .com boom here in 2000. And I talked about, let's see, I literally did a post earlier today talking about how a friend of mine was saying that market participants and companies seem to be overestimating the short-term potential of AI. And they were talking about how, stocks trade on future potentials of the stock, but the future is often measured in years, not in days. And I said, well, that's exactly the dynamic, because price action for NVIDIA and AI is essentially, it's what we're seeing now is the dissonance between those who are underestimating the longer term valuations because they just don't see how this thing is going more and more vertical. And so those who underestimate the longer term valuations and those who are overestimating the short term valuations. And so you see, like in 2025, I swear, every single rip gets sold off and then every dip gets bought furiously. I think you guys have seen this as well. The .com crash that we had here, it preceded the greatest realization of the internet's promise. And what that has led to, once more people were talking, more computers were talking, and the computer science was getting really, developed, and the material science as well, because to get these more powerful processors, you had to have better materials, and the distances between resistors and chips now are measured in single nanometers. It's crazy. Yeah, this thing is just going more. This is a log scale chart. If I go to linear scale, I mean, this is what the progress of our civilization looks like these days. Here's the internet, and then here's the promise of the internet. The dot-com boom and bust, they weren't wrong about it. They were just early, right? I think something similar could happen to us. I don't know if we're going to get like a big boom bust like this. I think what we're getting are lots of little booms and busts all the way along. I don't know. What do you guys, how do these words make you feel?
Juicy.
Log scale, linear scale. I mean, we really went, from SPX SPY 130, and now we're at SPY 645 in just a few decades.
Yeah, I mean that's powerful growth, but also inflation too.
Well, that's true. That is also inflation.
Yeah. But inflation means growth too, so it's not.
Yeah, because the more economic activity we have, the more money we have to support the economic activity.
Yep.
Let's see. What was I going to say? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to point this out. I mean, it really does, oh my God, the pace of change is just so rapid these days. I think a lot of people don't even really quite have their heads wrapped around it. But these are the kinds of things I grapple with all the time. What does it feel like to stand here? Oh my God, it's just like a wall of progress. And as the AI is developing faster than most people even realize too. I mean, if you look at some of the interviews from Sam Altman and such, and he himself is blown away. He couldn't have imagined how quickly the AI would have developed. Some things that the AI is doing today, if you asked him 6 months ago, he would have said, "Oh, that's like 10 or 20 years out." And now it's like, "Oh, it's here already." So he's trying to catch up with his mind about where AI could be in 3 to 5 years from now. And I think the markets might be going to have the same kind of reckoning, where maybe we spend so much time, the short sellers keep holding back the market realization, the potential of the market realization, and then one day, somebody just suddenly reports their quarterly earnings, and they've made 300% improvement over the previous quarter, or over the previous year, because of their new implementation of AI, and just how much more productivity. They squeezed a lot of productivity out of the internet. We squeezed a lot more productivity out of iPhones and Android phones, and AI is just going to make it go even more geometric. Anyway, that's it. That's what I wanted to say there.
I think there is. It's very interesting. I think there's a dichotomy of the economy right now, because you're talking about white collar jobs are potentially getting replaced.
Well, they'll have new white collar jobs will be replaced
with the other two session, where a lot of folks are kind of losing jobs to AI. They're just not as productive as what AI could do. On the other hand, I'm still having a hard time trying to get a plumber and trying to get a roofer out to fix my roof and take out my dead squirrels off my gutter. Like, those jobs are not going away anytime soon. Like, I would like to see robotics going up and fix my roof. I'm not seeing that happening right now. I don't know when that's ever going to happen. So there's a little bit of dichotomy. I think there's still going to be a lot of jobs that's still going to be protected. But on the other hand, I do think that the white collar jobs, they are growing in terms of productivity, they are growing in an exponential phase, and it's kind of scary. I also think a lot of people are spoiled from the stock market since 2008 all the way to like the COVID era, they haven't really experienced much volatility at all. They really are starting to see volatility for the first time during COVID. When in reality, the stock market has always been volatile. From the dot-com bubble to the great financial crisis, it's been volatile throughout the 70s. It's been extremely volatile. So I think people are just kind of spoiled. Having plus and minus like 20%, 25% of the stock market going up and down, which technically is a crash or whatever, is not atypical. I think people are just spoiled for from the 2000s, 2010s. I think they're just spoiled. That's all.
I think you're right. I would agree with that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to keep growing. There's all kinds of the growth is going to be exponential. It's going to be significant deflation. I hope they figure out how to automate fixing my roof soon. That'd be nice. But
I broke off with the Elliott Wave group that I used to follow, is because they kept predicting. They were looking for an Elliott Wave style 1, 2, 3, 4. They're waiting for this to plummet back. Another 200% or something.
Based off what though?
They kept they've been looking for the last 5 years for the SPX or for the SPY to completely top out and give us an 8-year recession. And when I came to you, when we started the show a year ago, I think I was still talking about that, but I don't think about that anymore. I don't talk about that anymore. I don't think we're going to have a crazy 7-8 year recession. We might have something like this where it goes sideways for a decade, but maybe not. Maybe we won't have anything go sideways.
Maybe if we are in a wave 3 right now, things could be going pretty crazy, and people might be chasing a lot, which could cause a lot of volatility to the downside after that. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's true. I guess
I think you're now thinking more of the 7 years itch instead of the 7 years crash. But yeah, a little midlife crisis there for you, Tracker. I don't know.
Oh no, I've been there, done that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You've been there, done that. Is this your 7 years itch right now?
No, I've had several midlife crises. No, you're so funny.
No, thank you for sharing that. I agree. I think growth is happening exponentially. They have to keep printing money for it, at least to replace the white collar jobs and become a lot more productive with those kinds of things. But please fix my roof. That's all I gotta say.
Never.
Yes, this is rounding. This is rounding up. This is the bullish moves. When there are two ways you can chart candlesticks. One is when they kind of go down, they drop down. This is what we've been seeing all year long. Our charts where the candlesticks, they just kind of follow the big cup and the handles, the more and more handles. But look at this. Then the other way you can start chart stocks are when they round over the top side, and these are all rounded over the top side. Just these last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months since that bottom got put in right there. This is a reset. If I've ever seen one right here, that 2025.
Yeah, look at Shopify. Look at Shopify. It's like the rounded top thing that just keeps on going up. Look at the monthly for Shopify. Oh, do log. Yeah, do log scale. You can see how. Yeah, it's rounded. Yeah, it's rounded, and then it just kept going higher, and then rounded, and it just kept going higher. The only exception, obviously, was the 2021 top. It rounded and it just plummeted down. But yeah, it's doing that same thing again. This is Shopify's behavior. If you're going to talk about that rounded up, that's what Shopify has been doing ever since 2016. So
yeah,
and now it wants to go to 500.
Yeah. Maybe 600, maybe $610.30, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe exactly that. That wouldn't be the 1.618 now, would it?
Yeah. I got a linear progression where it kind of goes up to in 5 impulsive waves to 439, then it'll have like an ABC correction, maybe down to the 886 again, and then it gets over the 114. So that'll take it over 500.
Yeah,
It'll fall just short of 500 the first time, first attempt maybe.
Yeah, but you can see why Tracker is saying like this formation is bullish because stocks can go up like this. So
yeah. I mean, nobody thought SOFI would be almost a $30 stock a couple years ago.
I thought it was just going to go to 14 and it's just going to crash down to 0. But that's I'm just kidding.
But
I remember on the show we were talking about SOFI at 14.
Yeah,
like when that was a future thing.
Nobody in their wildest dreams would think of this current price a couple years ago.
Yeah, let's see if I can.
No, but as soon as it crashed down to $8, like it really looked like they're gonna want to spring it up. I just didn't know that it was gonna be this quick,
Yeah, that's the volatility required sometimes for things to explode. So, not too shabby.
This is weird. Like SOFI actually has some parts of it look like they meet the criteria of rounding up, but then parts of it look like they're rounding from the bottom side. Like you saw me. I had that weird SPY chart that I had where it looked like there are eyeballs and stuff everywhere because you can see.
Yeah, I remember. That was like a big giant egg kind of thing. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, because it's like some of it. Look here, it very clearly. This is the kind of action we're looking at right now. I feel like where we had a big dip, and then it just kind of like rounds up and over, up and through, maybe kind of more like this. Yeah, and that was 2020. That's the pandemic to 2022, the consolidation, and now we're in this right here, which is starting to feel more and more like. Get rid of that. Yeah, same kind of rounding thing.
Yeah.
Bullishly rounding up over this way.
Yeah, they're going to try to suck everybody in and then try to rug pull them a little bit and just keep going. That's the nature of things. I want to show you a SOFI chart here that I had back in March. I posted this on X back in March, Tracker. When price plummeted all the way to $11. Who knew? Like I thought that would be like the subwave 2 right there, but it ended up all the way going back all the way down to the 0.382. It was brutal. It went back to the single digits. But then next thing you know, like so far it seemed to be playing out. SOFI it seemed to be playing out where maybe that was the subwave 2 of 3. And then I think this is like wave 3 of 3 right now, which is why I feel so powerful. So I think it's probably a reason why it's like breaking a bit above the 0.76 lays better. And it just keeps on going up. I think it's probably going to get to either like 1.272 log fib or 1.44 log fib. And that's probably going to be like the wave 3. And it's going to go up to like 40s. And people will be like, what the heck is going on? And then everybody's going to be like, oh, it's Palantiring. And then you might end up having a little bit of wave 4 and then wave 5. Kind of what I'm seeing. Again, I mean, this is all pure speculation. You have to have different scenario and things like that. But that really turned out to be pretty decent. Like 1, 2, 3, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC.
Yeah.
Like that turned out to be pretty decent. So I think we're at wave 3 of 3 right now, which is why it feels so powerful.
So, yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
What else is wave 3 of 3 right now? Is all of crypto? Is our Bitcoin miners at wave 3 of 3? What's going on with that, Cat?
Depends on which one you're talking about. You're talking about IREN, yeah, I think so. Like somebody was asking about IREN's bearish diversions, but anyway, like I'll get to that here in a little bit. But you look at the Bollinger Band expansion. Ooh, very nice. Look at the 0.86 log fib getting broken here. Pretty nice. If you look at the linear, it's also trying to break about the 0.76 here. Initially, I wasn't sure it was going to break about 0.76 on its first try. The month's still, a little early to get another like 3 trading days or something like that. But if it breaks about the 0.76 linear fib, I think, that's it. Some folks were like saying, oh, but you got some like bearish diversions going on. I think weekly, I don't really see any like major bearish diversions on the RSI. It looks just normal to me. It just keeps like RSI keeps on making like, higher highs here. I'm not that concerned. But if you're talking about like daily, you're seeing like, some bearish divergence. I think some people are scared about that. Just like people are scared about, like bearish diversions, I guess. Where is it that the bearish divergence that didn't matter, like little bearish divergence here. Next thing you know, just keep on pushing up higher anyway. It doesn't really matter as much on the daily because these things get negated all the time. Matter of fact, you already broke the trend line here, so like why even worry about that? So yeah, IREN is looking great. If you're looking at like, I think GLXY is still looking pretty decent here. I do have some pretty decent market symmetry here on my GAN here. If I can get around to show you that, there you go.
I have the same one. Gosh.
Yeah, God, I don't know why. Is it because I swear I didn't copy from you? I don't know. I drew this when I was like drinking. You know, I was like, yeah, this is cool. Back test of a breakout here. If you're also looking at the you know, the Bollinger Band is starting to kind of expand here a little bit. I'm not going to draw like the fib, but basically it's getting rejected at 0.86. It's trying to break above, but it's looking pretty decent. WULF is looking pretty decent too, because it's trying to linear fibs. I hate linear. It's trying to break about the 0.618 here of Bollinger expansion. Looks like it's a pretty good, decent setup there. CIFR is looking pretty decent here too. It looks like it really wants to try to break about the 0.786 lock fib here. Maybe we end up closing a month above the 0.76 here for the first time ever. I think I got rejected here, and here. Maybe starting to have a little bit of Bollinger expansion here too. So all these things are, you know, pretty decent setup. A lot of miners are looking pretty decent, but you still have a lot of laggards like BTC.D. Technically, I guess it's more like Ethereum Treasury play, still underneath the 20. HUD 8 is looking better. HUD 8 looks like it wants to do something here. Looks like it was pushing about the 0.6 minute. Looks like it wants to go higher. RIOT is looking a little bit better too. RIOT looks like it's been above the 20-month moving average here. It looks like it wants to do, yeah.
When you pull up a fib, though, when it used to be a biotech company, it's that fib resistance from the all-time high to the all-time low.
Okay, all right, never mind.
Do that fib. No, do that fib. Do the fib. Do the fib.
All right, let me turn off the Bollinger Band here.
Yeah, for back when it was a biotech.
It's just the all-time high here
to the all-time low. It's at fib resistance.
Oh no, yeah. You know, it's kind of funny you say that because yeah, a lot of things turn out to be like that. And if you look at the MSTR during the dot-com bubble, it's like telling you that it's going to go to the moon, you know. But yeah, I mean, like a lot of the miners, I would say about a third of them are looking very, very decent. I guess those are like narrative-wise, they're more AI or whatever. When you have the traditional ones like Please Mara, they're still kind of sucking. RIOT looks like it's kind of in between. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, MSTR, we're talking about a little bit about that. It's holding 1.44 here just fine. I think it's going to do okay. If you go back all the way from like the dot-com bubble top to like the dot-com bubble bottom, it's basically broken about the all-time high after broke about the 0.86 here. It's back tested all-time high over here. This thing looks like it's getting ready to run. Like, you know, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be as bullish as it was before because you're starting to have a little bit of a monthly Bollinger contraction here. But I still probably think it has another like up, you know, maybe to the 4 figures or something like that whenever it's ready to do so. But yeah, those are my thoughts on these charts, man. All right, I'm gonna let you guys take over because I think there's still some lightning round at the end. So please stick the next like 10, 15 minutes, talk about what you want to talk about.
All right, Matt, go for it.
I just wanted to bring up somebody was talking about the miners over Bitcoin in general. So I have the WGMI over Bitcoin here just to take a look at what's really developing. And it's back inside the cloud and getting close to that 236. But one thing that's interesting is that it really had a destination once it broke below this low, and that destination was that negative 0.27. So these negative fibs do come in handy sometimes just to see where destination could be. And that's where it was. So now, is it time for reversal time? I think maybe, right? Once we can get above this 236, that was a huge support zone in the past that was lost. So once that can get reclaimed, then I think it can be go time versus Bitcoin for the majority of the miners that are in this ETF. And it's looking better and better, right? The last few times it was back inside the cloud, though, it just kept on getting rejected over and over again. But since it had a destination that was reached, and it's breaking back above levels, I think it could be time for most of the miners to outperform. So yeah, that's a very, very bullish development too. Also, one thing I wanted to point out too is silver. People are talking about silver being bullish, and maybe is this a Palantirian candidate, Kat?
Yeah, it's one of my 11. When I saw silver doing its thing, I was like, man, yeah, it looks like it's Palantiring. So yeah, sure enough, people are starting to talk about it now, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, 2 months ago is when it really broke out, right? Nobody was really talking about it right when it broke out, but now everybody's kind of talking about it, that it's going higher. And the previous top tried to get broken back in 2011. It failed, came way back down to the 50% fib, then it bounced, and now we are in a recovery. And something else that's interesting, if we pull up the silver over gold chart here, I like to point out. Whoops, not the MEXC. What the heck is going on with? Oh, that's a crypto. Oh man.
Get it together, man. Get it together.
Yeah, what is wrong with me, idiot? And the silver over gold chart on the monthly chart. Let me just take off this Ichimoku, but it hit like a multi-decade bottom since 1991. And it basically nailed it again back in May, and that always proved to be kind of a bottom. It happened during COVID as well. And once we saw that COVID bounce, it went right back down to the 236. So I think it is about time to continue to outperform gold, and which means, is gold going to sell off? I mean, we've been watching this. We've been watching this gold chart for a while now, trying to break above this linear scale. 2.618. There's 2 days and 21 hours left. Is it going to close the month above it this time? I mean, if it is, could it be just a bull trap and just pulling people in to pretend it's going to go higher? But these wicks really feel like distribution to me, and I don't know if it's going to be sustainable. I mean, we'll find out. Like, there's 2 days left. What do you think, Kat? Is it going to close above?
I don't know, man. Even if it closes above, I still worry about it. But it's right at resistance. So,
Did you guys know that silver is in higher demand in manufacturing, especially in photovoltaics and EVs?
Yeah, that
that's
makes sense.
interesting.
Yeah, and electronics and AI circuit boards.
That's interesting. I think if that's the case, like it's just like copper, there might be a use case for it, and it might actually be somewhat reflective of like economic activity rather than just whatever people want to manipulate. So I don't know.
It's not like speculative demand; it's actual industrial demand that's
Right.
ramping up for silver.
Right. Maybe that's what we're seeing. I don't know. But either way, I think it's been forming a big giant base, and it's looking like it wants to run, and it's lagging behind gold significantly. It looks like there might be a little bit of rotation that could be happening soon. So
Yeah. So just because if it does close above this 2.618, it still is, in my opinion, more risky to accumulate up here than anything else, because it's been stuck there for almost half a year now, and it's not really, even the wicks are not going higher too. So it just feels like distribution to me. So I would still be cautious with this gold chart, which is actually a very bullish situation if it did start to go down for risk on, right? That is usually an indicator as well. So I think it's an interesting development. So we'll watch silver, see if it can break out. We'll watch Ethereum, see if it can start to break into all-time highs. And I guess before we do the lightning round, I'll just go over some cryptos that I've been watching a lot recently. And one of them has been Chainlink. I've been watching that altcoin a lot. And one thing that it's doing now, let's do log-based fibs, is
It looks like it's closing up its handles.
It's what?
It's closing up its handles, the cup and handles.
Oh, yes, it's closing up its handles. Yes, and it's approaching and trying to break through this all-important log-based 2585, which has been a major resistance since last year of December. Could not really close any monthly candles above it. I mean, there's 2 days left in the month. Is it going to close above? Maybe, maybe not. But I think the setup is there for continuation higher. We can also look at the top of the monthly Ichimoku cloud. It's almost getting ready to break as well. So this is just showing once it can break above this $25 to $27 range, I think it's going to be kind of a pretty explosive coin and just go up towards the 886 and towards all-time highs. And this really does have potential to go up to the hundreds and maybe even the 200s above. So it feels like impossible at these levels right now, I know, but when things get going, they can really get going. So, of course, I'm watching this. It's on the top of my list. Ethereum, watching it still, trying to break above the 48.68, the 2021 high. Is it going to do it? I don't know, but it's just a very healthy chart. This setup was always there, though. This whole time, you could clearly see it. Once it broke above the monthly cloud with this candle right here, it back tested the bottom, and it was just closing monthly candles above it, and then it was just a launch pad. So it was just perfectly set up for that situation. And now it's above the 886, getting ready to maybe go to the fib extensions above, maybe even the 42,000. Who knows if that's a possibility? We'll find out. We can look at Dogecoin. Is Dogecoin finally going to do something? I mean, Kat and I both talked about it, how it's finally back inside the monthly Ichimoku cloud. But I think what we're going to see is more resistance up here before any kind of breakout. So it could take a little bit longer. But we've seen it before. Once it just wants to get going, it can break through all those resistance levels with one giant monthly candle. So that could be a possibility. But at the same time, it still is kind of lagging behind everything else because it's still underneath the 618. So patience with that one. And of course, XRP, everybody wants to say, oh, it's not going to break out. It's not going to break out. Well, it's not breaking above the 310. But what it is doing, if you look at the weekly chart, is it actually did go back for another back test of the conversion line again for the second week in a row. And that's actually still bullish. And it's finally sloping upward to potentially push price much higher. So still very bullish on XRP, and this is actually a very nice looking formation. Like
I see a triangle.
Yeah, triangle, bull flag, whatever you want to call it. It just looks like it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and maybe this week, next week, or some week is just going to start to take off. And I can't be bearish on XRP. And lastly, I'll look at Solana here because it's actually been trying to do some moves here. And the move it's trying to do is break above the cloud. And it's not successful there. That's around the 210. But when you take off the indicator, what I'm really looking at, what I'm focused on is how things are set up with this GAN arc here, right? Previous resistance flipping to support. Potentially, the last time it tried to break out, this angle kind of got in the way, but now there's nothing in the way. So I think it does have room to even go straight up, maybe even to the next level here, to the 2000, right? It has that potential to do that. So all across the board here, everything we look at is setting up to go much higher. And I can't, it's really hard for me to find a chart that's not really set up to go much higher. And one of them, I think, would be even AVAX. A lot of people say, oh, it's not going to do anything. But when you just look at the GAN here, it's set up to go higher, right? It's holding levels. It's just can't break above this resistance zone yet. But once it gets going, it'll be hard to stop. I mean, Link was once in the same position as well as AVAX. It was right around that 382 at some point. But once it broke above, it was clear sailing. So it's really hard to find a bearish looking chart.
You know what else I think is the reason why I think crypto is going to go higher? I'm not seeing anybody requesting any crypto charts tonight.
That's true. It's like Baba, it's Elf. It's that's true. There's zero crypto charts. Wow.
Zero crypto chart. I think it's going to go higher, guys. Yeah.
So thank you all for not requesting it because
don't request it. Stop it.
Nope. It's too late now. We already said it. There's no request, so we take it back. Take it back, that Pepe. But I think we can let Kat finish off with the lightning round here.
Well, I do have. I think there are two. Somebody asked about IPA and CLDI to tracker. I don't know if you have. You able to spend maybe 3 or 4 minutes to go through IPA?
I can work on those. Let's see.
Yeah, or you want me to? Do you go?
No. I'll do it too. All right, immunoprecise antibodies. On the weekly chart, here's its all-time high of 33.34 to its all-time low 27 cents. This is all log scale. It really did want to get back to that 50% level, and that's where it is right now. Last week, this week, it's still resistance. I don't see the 16-hour chart. There's no gap in my 16-hour chart. It means like pre-market and I don't know if there's algos or people just look at this. They look at this gap and they think, oh, it's got to retest that gap. And like I said, there wasn't really there's like a regular trading session gap, but not a pre-market gap. But let's just entertain the idea that it goes all the way back to 292 $1.13. Yeah, it could do that. I'd say if it can't, I would love to see a wick where it just runs up and touches. It just tags this moving average 300 on the weekly chart at 418 and then dives back down. But eventually, what I think, something like this, it could easily just go sideways for a very long time. And what it does, if it goes sideways long enough, this extends. This is kind of covering up fast. So maybe actually it's not going to go sideways that long. Maybe it'll just do something like that. I should have used two different colors. But yeah, eventually it's going to want to check out the 702, the 618, the 702, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, for sure, 421 is going to be resistance the first time it hits at any time. If it does get over this $3 level, I wonder if I could do, let me just take all this stuff real quick. It's hard to say. I could do a quick fib extension just off of the all-time low here. I think to right about here and then to there. And that looks like it's Dopplering into just over the 618. So, for example, if this did just keep going on a bullish impulsive trend and got over that halfway point at $3, and it would hit major resistance right here at the 1382, which is just a little above, or actually maybe the 1236, which is right here where the moving average 300 is. You can see they line up really well for that. So let's do a linear scale real quick, and I'll just say, if it did do this bullish pattern, 764, maybe down to the 236. I don't want to do that. 764, 382, 1382, 100, 2382 is what it would look like. Sorry, I don't do anything fast, I'm afraid, anymore. There, that's what it would look like. That would get it to 662. Or, halfway between the 618 retracement and the 702. All right, that's IPA. Kalidi is not as pretty looking. Kalidi Biotherapeutics, every time I look at this chart, it's made a new all-time low. And, the last few weeks have, I've continued that trend. Blow off top, new all-time low, blow off top, new all-time low, and then even lower. Then I got this blow off top, which came all the way back to what had been previously the, let's see, trying to log scale. Yeah, it got over this quarter. It got, to like the 3.8, 3.6. It got over the halfway point between the, 0 and the 5. And then that just turned into a blow off top too. And it looked promising where it kind of came down and had support here for a little bit. Then it just lost it again. So anyway, we're back down to the point where I cannot make a bullish fib extension projection because I need a new higher high and then a new higher low. And we just don't have that on any kind of large scale yet. So, the recent reverse split didn't do them any favors, unfortunately. And that's all I can say about that. The technology themselves, what they were able to show me looked very promising for cancer fighting. And I don't know, they just need to do something with showing a profit or, getting some adoption, some FDA approvals and et cetera, et cetera. And they're just not there yet. That's all I got to say about those two.
All right. Thank you, Tracker, for doing those.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Can I do BMNR real quick because Rumble Belly asked for it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Bitminer. Let's see. Log scale chart. My Grok chart. I like the chart that you did last week where you did include this, where it goes down to like 1,000th or 2,000th of a cent very briefly, but I'm discounting it still for now. I like this as the center pivot right here. We can just call this, it went into negative fibs briefly, but this looks really good for a center pivot. There's a lot of price action right around 41.18. And even after it lost it, blow off top, made its new all-time low, the recovery was, it jumped right up to the 702, and then it oscillated around the halfway center pivot point, and then turned it into support right here. Right here, and it never retested that support actually. These are 16-hour candlesticks, so this includes all the pre-market and after-hours action. Yeah, somewhere right here they just decided to keep. I don't know. Maybe it has to do one more perfect touch of $41.18 would make this chart look really nice, but it doesn't have to. My next target in let's see, I did this Fibonacci extension from the all-time low to the all-time high, and then its higher low. So here's a wave 1, wave 2. Kind of a 236,114. I'd really like to see it do like 764,382, and that would make it let's see, I'd like to see 764,382, 1382, 100, 2382. But if I can't get that, these numbers do make sense because these Doppler into the 886. It'll fall just short of, maybe just touch the 886 if it gets just over this 223.6% fib extension. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I kind of freehanded this based on the fib retracement levels. That just kind of guess it can't quite get to the 786 the first time, has to test back to the 702. I mean, we're talking about going from $50 to over $140. So, I mean, that in itself will take some time. But it looks good. It looks good for here's your big cup, and it's working on had a kind of a cup that needs a handle that needs more handles to make this a giant handle.
You know what? Yeah, that's right. We didn't even go over Tesla today out of everything. I can't believe it. Like, it's actually breaking out.
I'll put that together with the lightning round.
Yeah, Cal will do it with the lightning round, but we're almost running out of time.
All right, let's do it. You guys want to flip over to me? Yeah, just real quick. I'm gonna go through this extremely quick here. This is BMNR. I think it's stuck in a range right now. I think Tracker's trajectory is perfectly logical. If Ethereum is going to go higher, it's probably going to tracking going higher as well. The only thing is this is a 2-week chart here. It's stuck in a range. It backtests a 2-week Ichimoku here perfectly. It's going to have some resistance that it needs to fight over here, which is going to be at the 0.76 over here, around $62.45. Once it breaks above that, the resistance level above is going to be around $82.50, somewhere around there. So you still got a couple of resistance levels above to kind of break open. But Tracker already ran through some of the possibilities in terms of like where it can go higher after that. Bros, let's do this for live. This is the weekly chart here. You can see how it's been going up parabolically for a long time, and it just needs to consolidate sideways over to touch the weekly Ichimoku cloud. So it's bouncing off the Ichimoku cloud over here on the weekly here very, very decently. I see this look in a lot of different charts, actually. One of which I'm seeing this kind of stuff is, MSTR is basically doing a very similar thing, where it's just kind of went parabolic and it's just kind of consolidating sideways over here on the cloud here. And then the other thing I also see this a lot was really on all the quantum stocks, not so much QBTS because that's outperforming it a little bit, but RTGI is doing that, IONQ is doing that, QBT is doing that. So I'm seeing kind of very similar things that are happening here where it's just kind of push the cloud and just kind of want to keep going higher. Probably after that, if you look at a monthly chart, you can see Ichimoku. The conversion line here is pointing up and it's finding support. You got a bullish engulfing candle over here. So far, it's engulfing the last 2 months of price action here, which is pretty decent. Bollinger Band is still expanding to the upside, a little bit contracting here to the downside because you've been consolidating sideways over here for a while. But so far, with the Ichimoku rising up like that, and still holding the Tenkan Kijun or conversion baseline as support, I still think that is probably going to favor further bullish continuation until proven otherwise, especially since it's kind of brushing through the cloud like that. Now, looking at some of the FIB levels, it also seemed like is kind of reclaiming 0.86 over here. So it's a decent setup. I'm okay if you want to get into it. I just don't like to chase like big giant move here, but it's considered sideways over enough to it's okay to get into it. ELF, this is a monthly chart for ELF, ELF. You can see how it basically is backtesting the monthly Ichimoku cloud here perfectly. It's forming a little bit of head and shoulder over here. The reason why you have a hard time breaking above the current level is because it's at a 0.618 log fib here is going to reject it. And it's not only that, but you also have the baseline up above over here. On top of that, the 20-month moving average is also up above here as well as resistance. So you're going to end up having a little bit of a hard time kind of break about. You do need a little bit of consolidation sideways over your head and shoulder. Maybe it's going to even spend a few more months here, break about the 0.618, break about that, hit the 0.786, maybe back test some of these things, and then go. So you might end up having a little bit more time for consolidation here. I don't like to generally buy things that are underneath the 20-month moving average because there's no guarantee. But, you know, this might be as good a setup as you want to buy if it's going to be somewhere underneath the 20-month moving average here. So you can consider doing it if you want to. I'm not against it. This is RXRX. This is a stock that I currently have been building a small position in. I really do think this is a spring. The reason why I think it's a spring is I see a lot of volume over here at the lows. This really looks very Wyckoff-ish. This actually looked very, very similar to the schematic one over here. And I think that we're going through a spring here, doing a little bit of tests over here from previous levels. So if you want me to do a little bit of projection here, I can do that here a little bit. It's all speculation. You know, I don't know what's going to happen for sure. Maybe a little bouncy here. This is like the LPS, and it's going to go through some SOS over here. Sign of strength, then it's going to probably going to go, you know, higher from there. Whether or not the timing works out like that, I don't know. But that's kind of what I'm seeing. That's the reason why I'm accumulating that, because I see a lot of volume here at the spring. If you do a FIB level, I can see the potential. I can't do it. I can see potentially maybe hitting like the 0.76 or 0.86 over here once it's done the, you know, the Wyckoff kind of thing. But that can take like a year and a half, 2 years, which is also part of the reason why I don't think the cycle's necessarily going to be over that soon, because I see some stock that are looking like this with biotech, where you are looking like it's going to end up being a little bit of a Wyckoff kind of formation. OSCR, monthly, stuck in range. Where is it stuck in a range? Monthly chart over here is stuck between 0.76. It's stuck between 0.618 log fibs here. It's even stuck between the baseline and the inversion line over here on the monthly. It's just somewhere stuck in the middle. So it's stuck in a range, but if you think that, you know, whether or not the formation is bullish, the formation is still bullish. I still think that it's showing enough strength over here that most likely eventually, whenever it's done consolidating, it's going to end up breaking about the 0.76 and go higher. That's what it looks like to me. That's my favor, but it's still stuck inside a weekly cloud. So it's probably going to end up consolidating sideways here until further notice. I don't know when it's going to break out. I'm not really that interested in this stock. It's been consolidating sideways over here for a while. It could keep consolidating sideways here for a little longer. The reason why I say that is because you look at the monthly bullish band, it's still contracting. So it might have a hard time kind of break about the upper bullish band here. it's just, yeah, I'm not going to enter this stock here if you ask me, but is it bullish? Yeah, I think I lean more bullish here. Somebody asked about CART. CART, I think it's okay. I don't like the fact that it's forming a little bit of a double top. I do like the fact that it's holding the Ichimoku cloud here at bottom and it's back testing the previous all-time high over here. It does have a little bit of a bearish divergence here, so it's losing momentum here. I don't know how long it has to consolidate sideways here before breaking out. It could even cool down a little bit further and break underneath the cloud. I don't know, but I do think that this trend here is a little bit exhausted. It's cooling down. I don't know when it's going to be done here, so I may not be that interested in it. But you also see, like, if you look at higher time frame, you look at like the 2-month chart, you can see all these wicks above here. I get a little bit worried when I see all these big giant wicks above. It just means there's a lot of distribution that's still happening. So I'm probably going to stay away from something like that. AGMH, it just looks like a big giant downtrend here on the weekly. It just keep breaking underneath the Ichimoku cloud, just keep on plummeting, forming a bear flag over here. You look at the 20-week moving average, it is still underneath the 20-week moving average. If you look at a monthly chart, this is something that I would probably not enter because it's just way underneath. There's no sign of strength here at all. I'm probably just going to stay away from that. Uber is looking pretty decent here on the 2-week chart. It's looking like it just wants to follow a rising tank and a rising conversion line, just keep going higher. On the monthly chart, it's a little bit overextended about the tank, but it's okay. Broke about the 1.44 here finally. Looks like it wants to hit this 1.618 over here. Look at the Bollinger Band. It's starting to kind of expand here a little bit too. It looks like it wants to keep going higher over time. Looks like volatility is to the upside here whenever it wants to keep going. PayPal, 2-week chart stuck inside Ichimoku cloud. Look at it weekly. stuck underneath the Ichimoku cloud. Look at the monthly, stuck underneath the Tenkan and Kijun on the Ichimoku over here. If you look at the 20-month moving average, it's still underneath the 20-month moving average. So it's not doing too much. Is it consolidating sideways enough that a big explosion move can happen maybe sometime in like 2027, 2028? Maybe, but like I don't know how long the sideways is going to happen. I just don't know. So I'm staying away from it because it's been a major laggard and it can continue to lag here. For the foreseeable future, I think we're a little bit over time here. So I think we might be okay. I'll do a couple more MDB.
Did you
here.
do Tesla?
Oh yeah, sorry. Let's just do Tesla.
Yeah.
And then we'll end the show. What do I think about Tesla? I think Tesla, there are a few things they're going for. One thing is if you just look at the 20 and the 50-week moving average, they're both up pointing. And whenever you have this kind of curve up pointing, like you knew that it's probably going to be some pretty decent support here. And we were, Dan and I were pretty, decently bullish on Tesla. It looks like it's playing out. It's just been the same like kind of loop over here over and over. It does this, like Tesla does these kinds of things. That's what it's looking like it's doing. And certainly the uprising 20 and 50 looks like it's kind of pushing price up higher. You're about to get a golden cross over here, whatever that means. On top of that, you look at Ichimoku, it looks like it might be on the verge of breaking out. We still have, obviously, have a few days here, so I don't want to jinx it, but it's in the process of, really like, breaking out above this conversion base, bottom of the cloud here. It looks like it might be in the process of challenging the top of the cloud here at the very least. On top of all that, you're looking at fit level, it's getting really close to challenging the 0.86 over here. And we mentioned that once it's hold the 0.76 here, which has been holding, the next destination is going to be 0.86. Once it breaks above the 0.86, I think it's going to go make some all-time highs here pretty soon. The reason why over here was a little bit of a false breakout and really couldn't break out that high, there's a reason for that. Reason is because the Bollinger Band hasn't expanded enough yet. Now the Bollinger Band is starting to expand here on the monthly. Over here, it was just too non-expansy, so you have to track the price back down to the 20-month moving average here. Back-tested area. Now we're building up an energy, break the 0.86 here for good because the Bollinger Band is expanding. That allows more room to go up. It's been forming higher highs and higher lows since January 2023. I don't know why anybody really get worried about Tesla. It makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. If you want to look at a higher time frame here too on the Ichimoku, it's also in the verge of potentially breaking above the conversion line over here, which is a confluent zone over here. Once it breaks, this thing's going to go up higher. Do I think it breaks this month? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but it looks like it wants to challenge it here. Yet another month, like 3 over the last 4 months, is challenging the area over here. And together with the fact that I think the weekly moving averages are favoring a little bit of up move here, it could get rejected here, come back down, back test these moving averages, and then kind of use that as energy and kind of push up higher, get a golden cross, and then push up. That's kind of what I'm seeing Tesla's doing.
No, but and also I just want to add in right here.
Yeah,
it's breaking above the arc.
Very nice.
We'll see if we can close the week above it. But I think that's it for our show, guys. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Yep. Marital capital counting 5 minutes in. So yeah, I'm gonna say adios.
Yeah, but I think we might see you tomorrow, right, Tracker? Is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah. We're gonna do a live show tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And next week we might have a special guest because I might not be here next week, but you guys might have a special guest. So we'll see who that's going to be.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Might be another Elliotician.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right, you guys.
Thanks, everybody for watching. And
yeah,
we'll see you in the morning.
All right.
Will do.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.